Namaste yogis, welcome back to the Yoga Pantry with me, Tash. I am so sorry I have been MIA for the last 5 weeks. My Mac died, my iMac, so I haven't been able to do any editing. So I actually didn't film anything either, which is dumb. I should have just stockpiled a whole lot of stuff, but I didn't really have anywhere to store it. And I had to wait for a good 5 weeks before my new laptop arrived. So I am back. And I'm back to talk about yoga mats. I have a personal collection of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I have one at the yoga studio as well that are my own personal mats that I use. I mix them up on and off. There's some that are my favorites and some that I hardly use at all. And I thought I should finally get around to doing a mat review. The reason I have so many is they're all very different styles and types of mats, and I really wanted to try them all out. I have paid for every single mat behind me here. I've never been given a free yoga mat. You're welcome to give me them. I love them. I actually won a mat once in a competition, and I did give that away as a prize. It was a Manduka, so it was a great mat to win, but I actually already own 2 Mandukas, so I don't need them. Actually 3. I own 3. How many do you need? How many mats do you need? 1 or none. In fact, you actually can do your yoga on the carpet, on the grass, on the floor, whatever feels comfortable for you, on a towel. But a yoga mat does give you a place to anchor your practice. And obviously, I love my yoga mats. Today I'm going to talk about one mat in particular. I'm going to talk about the Valka Cork mat, which is a New Zealand company. And when I first heard about cork mats, I was like, I must have one. I need to have a cork mat. Because I like the idea of cork being a sustainable, renewable product, kind of like bamboo. If there was a bamboo mat, I'd probably buy that. And I like the idea of rubber as well. The rubber backing is also sustainable, renewable, as long as both the cork and the rubber are farmed ethically and environmentally, with environmentally sound practices. I am all for it. And the mat I'm going to talk about today is in this awesome bag. I can also review yoga mat bags. This one has chakras on it. It's beautiful. I spent the money to get this one because I wanted it to match my mat. So all for accessorizing. So here it is, my cork mat from Valka. There they are. And I'll put the description and the link to this company in the description thing. Now, they did not pay me to do this. They did not give me this mat for free. I bought it. Like I said, I found out about cork mats and I Googled and Googled and Googled, and I found a company in New Zealand who makes them. It was, at that time, they were very new, so I think I was one of their really early customers as well. I found them on Trade Me, and then I went through to their website and checked out the designs that they had, and they had, that's not very impressive reveal, is it? That's the back of it. That's the rubber side. It's a 3mm thick rubber. Rubber is much denser than those foamy TPE mats that you get in all of the cheap shops. Nothing wrong with them. I started on one of those mats and I used one for years, and I've actually got them in my yoga studio because you can pop them in the washing machine and in the dryer. Didn't know that, did you? And give them a good clean. They're not the best for the environment though, so I'm moving away from those and trying to get mats that last longer and that are rubber based and from a good company. Now let me show you the front of my beautiful Valka chakra mat. They do have different designs at Valka. Mine, of course, my favorite was the chakra symbols because I love working with the energy centers of our 7 main chakras. It's longer than my arm span. I'm not a tall chick, so you might be able to hold yours out more, but it's good to have a big long mat. And I do like the size of this mat. The bigger the mat, the better, in my opinion, even though I'm teeny tiny. Just gives you more space to roll around on. And if you're in a studio or a hall that has a gross floor, it's kind of nice to be able to stay on your mat. So we have our 7 chakra symbols all the way from base to crown. The cool thing about rubber is it has a weight to it. And that's why I think most rubber mats of this kind of ilk are only 3 mils, because they're trying to keep the weight down and the cost down as well. And 3 mils in rubber is a good density. I always prefer 4 to 5 mils, just for a bit more solid cushioning. But you don't want something really soft and squishy, because your wrists are going to collapse into it in a downward facing dog, and you'll eventually do some harm to your joints. Now with Valka, their prints, they use what's it called? Non-toxic, eco-friendly inks. So they're not as vivid in color, because they are that, that non-toxic kind of thing. And as I said, this is an early mat. This is something I bought, I don't know, like 3 or 4 years ago now, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I don't use this mat every day. So if it looks like it's brand new, it's because it practically is. I have a lot of mats. They're all going to look pretty brand new. This one especially, because this arrived today. Because you can never have enough yoga mats. And I'll talk about this. This is something I'd never seen before, so of course I had to buy it. But I will do a review about all my mats and a comparison of them all after this. I just wanted to talk about a cork mat, because it's quite different, it's quite unique. There's lots of companies offering cork mats now. They're all pretty much identical. I haven't seen anything unique or different from company to company, so I can pretty much recommend wherever you get a cork mat, it's going to be pretty much the same. But it depends on the company's ethics and philosophies that might sway your choice. Valka is a lovely company that really have tried to be environmentally friendly and sustainable, and they also sell awesome copper water bottles and tongue scrapers and other great things like that as well. So what do I like about this mat? I love that it has the chakra design on it, as I said. I do love the feeling of cork. Now with a cork mat, you don't want to fold it at all. And there are some mats that you don't want to fold at all anyway. Really the only time you would fold your mat is if you are trying to create a little bit more of a platform to cradle your shoulders for a plow pose or a shoulder stand. But you can easily use a couple of blankets to do that instead of your yoga mat. And rolling up your yoga mat, any yoga mat, is the best way to keep it. Yeah, I won't talk about these. I'll talk about this one. I'm like a little squirrel. I'm like, look at all my mats. Let me show you all. But let's just focus on the cork mat. It is quite slidey if you are like me and you're not super sweaty. Some people have sweaty palms, so this is perfect. It's going to grip into it. And as you get sweaty, the wetter the hands, the more grippy you will find the mat. Being cork, it's antimicrobial. I always say that wrong. It is antimicrobial. So it is going to keep the little nasties away. It's going to stay smelling fresh and not be all gross. That said, if you do have a sweaty practice, please don't roll up your mat, chuck it in your bag and leave it in the corner. Hang it out, let it dry. If you need to give your mat a little wipe down, this cork mat or any other mat you own, some vinegar and water, or maybe some essential oils and some water. Actually, we do have a nifty mat cleaning guide, how to make your own mat cleaner, on our Facebook page. So I'll try and remember to put that link in the description as well if you want to make your own mat cleaner. You just give it a little spritz and a little wipe down just to keep it fresh and clean. You wouldn't put this in the washing machine at all. And then just hang it out somewhere in the shade. I wouldn't hang it in hot sun, just like leave it out flat or hang it and let it dry, and then once it's dry you can roll it up. What do I like about this mat? I like the fact that cork has that warmth and that tactile feeling to it. Every mat feels quite different. You know, this has, if you like to get your hands into nature a little bit more rather than onto some synthetics, then you'll enjoy using this mat. You know, it is a really lovely mat to feel grounded and centered on. If you are practicing on a really hard surface, then this might not be the mat for you because it's only 3 mils thick. And yes, it's still a rubber base, which is firmer than a foam base, but it would be nicer to practice on some like a hardwood floor or marble or concrete floors with a little bit more cushion and padding underneath you. That said, you could roll this out on top of a studio mat, or you know, you could take this and have another studio mat underneath it if you go to a studio. Or if you're at home and you're on carpet, then it's perfect. It's not going to be too squishy, and it's not going to be like really hard and firm either. The thing with cork mats is their longevity, and any kind of eco mat, is they do have a lifespan. The only mat that I know that gives you a lifetime guarantee is Manduka Pro Mats. So if you buy one of those, they're not completely eco-friendly. They do have the eco mats as well, but with those Pro Mats, Pro Light, Pro Mat, you get a lifetime guarantee, and even then you'll probably just be able to donate your mat to someone else to use. They are quite robust. This mat, if you used it consistently for a daily practice, then it may last 3 years, depending on how well you look after it. You might get longer than 3 years out of it. Don't be shocked. That's kind of what a Lululemon mat is going to give you as well. So if you're like, you're going to get about the same lifespan. It retails for $89.99, which is a great price for a yoga mat. And it's actually the top cork. It's recycled cork from cork bottles. So that's kind of cool too. It's not even coming fresh on the tree from cork bottles, from wine bottles. And yeah, that's really cool. I like that. I like the fact that it is made out of recycled materials. So if you really are into your environmental consciousness, which we all should be, then you might enjoy this kind of a mat as well. What else would I say about this mat? Is it my favorite mat? No, it's not my favorite mat. I have a lot of mats, and I'm not sure if I actually have a favorite mat. The mat that I probably pull out the most when I go and teach privates or do some yoga at home would be my Manduka Eco mat, actually. It's a nice big size, it's quite grippy, that's quite enjoyable. And then I also have a travel mat, which I pull out at home all the time because you can fold it up and then just throw it on the floor. The travel mat's only 1 mil thick, but I practice on carpet, so it's perfect for that. And I'll talk about those in another review. So it's not my go-to mat. I have had this mat for quite a few years now. It hasn't had that much use from me because, as you can see, even if I rotate a mat a week, they're still not going to get as much use if I just owned one mat. This just arrived today, so they're still coming in. I'm just really interested in trying out new surfaces and seeing what people are creating for our yoga practice. And also, at least one person can invest in all the mats and try them out and let you know how they compare. A lot of mat reviews that I've looked at, they give you comparisons from different people who have tried different mats, but not all mats. So it's kind of hard to understand where they're coming from when they've actually only ever tried 1 or 2 mats or 1 or 2 styles, you know. So yeah, I've been amassing a lot in order to do a mat review about the different kinds of mats that are out there and what I think about them. Now, what else can I say about my Valka Yoga mat? It does roll out flat because it's got the weight of the rubber on it, and it also does roll up nice and small. It is quite weighty because it's got that rubber base, so any kind of rubber mat is going to be quite heavy. And I know some of my students don't like having a heavy mat, especially if they're biking or walking to class. But if you're driving, it's no big deal. And you know what? If you want to create a little bit more strength before you get to class, then it's no big deal either. This isn't a super heavy mat, and it rolls up to a nice small size. And yeah, it's like holding a little baby. Maybe not as heavy as a baby, maybe a cat. I could probably tell you what the weight and measurements are if I actually looked up the specs, and I can put that in the details below. But there you have it. That is my cork mat. I find it can be a little slippy unless I wet my hands first. Like I said, I'm not a sweaty person. If you are, you might really enjoy that it does. The warmer you get and the sweater you get, the more grippy it gets as well. It is a lovely feel because you've got this natural cork and you've got this natural rubber. So you're kind of working on that lovely sense of nature. It doesn't smell crazy, and when I first got it, I didn't notice a big toxic smell. So that's really lovely as well. Some mats, they arrive and they're quite smelly, and it takes a while to get that smell out. There's no conditioning that you have to do to it. You just roll it out once you get it and it's good to go. Yeah, and I also have cork yoga blocks, which I love as well. I've got foam and cork, and I really do enjoy using the cork blocks. Again, there's just something really lovely and tactile about cork. So that's it. That is what I think about my cork mat. And if you are interested in getting yourself a cork mat, every cork mat that I have seen on the market looks pretty much exactly like this. So I'll pop the details below, and Danny, the guy who runs it, is really lovely. We've had a few conversations on and off when I was looking for a cork mat, and I found one in New Zealand, so I was completely stoked about that. And yeah, and so you know that you're supporting a good company with good ethics if you get your mat from Valka. Thanks.